Hello and welcome to the Jeff Ahern Show. Good to see you as always. Lots of good stuff going on this week. Crazy stuff. Musk with the sink. I mean, it's just been it's been a fun news week. If you haven't already, check me out at jeffahern.com. That's where I do my news of the week every single week. You can also catch me on Rumble at Jeff Ahern and Twitter. Well, not Twitter. I was just on top of mind. If it had been top of mind, I would have forgotten it though, right, Joe? Anyway, YouTube, they censor me a lot, but you can still see me there. And TikTok, same thing, censor me a lot, but you can see me there as well. But let's get into it. Let's check out what's going on in the news. It's kind of a big breaking story right now as I just kind of look at my my other computer. That's right. I got two computers. That's right. One's really old, though. My son spilled coffee on it, but it still works. Anyway, I digress. Yeah, I'm laughing. Let me get the laughs out because this is kind of a sad one. But it says, where is Nancy? This is on Fox. It says, presser soon, press conference there. Attacker was looking for Pelosi before beating husband with a hammer. So that's pretty psycho. Now, here's the thing. This is San Francisco. This is not like that unusual. You know what I mean? Like it's a nut house there. It's an absolute complete nut house. You know, there's just crap on the sidewalks, homeless running around willy-nilly, people shooting up every old place. No real mental health care for anybody. You know, it's a nut house. So the fact that some guy teed off on her husband with a hammer is not surprising. That he found the house, that's kind of surprising to me. Like, but I don't know how well is her house known. She's been a politician there forever, you know, for a long time. So it might be kind of well-known knowledge. And then I guess her husband just doesn't get security. I don't know. You know, like when she's there, I'm sure there's like cops like here and there. Like we used to go by Mayor Daley's in Chicago, and there are always police cars out in front of his residence. You know, but I guess maybe when Nancy takes off, they're like, "Yeah, let Paul fend for himself." I hope the guy's all right. I shouldn't laugh. And apparently he's looking for Nancy, saying, "Where's Nancy?" But that being said, we've set the groundwork here for Dems who are desperate for any kind of a bump because again, it's just slaughtered. Even the Dems are like, oh my God, we're in a lot of trouble. Usually when we ruin everything, we can distract better than this, but there's no pandemic going on. You know, Russia, Ukraine, that's their fault pretty much because Biden's such a weak president. You know, so anything that they could use to distract the border, oh, that's also Biden's fault. How about crime? No, that's also Democrats' fault. Defund the no, that's Democrat. So anything that they could use to distract from their record, which is just horrible, a nightmare. They can't, you know, so this could be it, maybe this, you know, and so my guess is the liberal media is going to come out immediately like MAGA lunatic with no evidence of it. MAGA lunatic breaks into Pelosi's house to, you know, it may have January 6th connections and breaks into house looking to kill her in violent fit of rage with a hammer. And who knows, that potentially it could be true. It could be some MAGA guy, but I don't think it is. My instinct tells me it's like a crazy person. You go into someone's house with a hammer, like that's your plan. I got a hammer and an address, and I'm gonna mess some people up. That's a lunatic, right or left. You know, and if it's a leftist, it's just a lunatic. You know, but they will try to throw an entire group of people under the bus for the actions of one, unless it comes out that one was Democrat, and then they'll just be, oh, he just needed help, and poor man. Probably also going to go out on a limb here, San Francisco. Bet this guy should have been in jail. I bet he's committed a fair number of certainly misdemeanor crimes, shoplifting, things like that, potentially some felonies, whoever this guy was, and I'm assuming it's a guy. Maybe it was a girl. I don't think so. And probably could have been in jail if they had, you know, stricter laws and had cash bail. So a lot of interesting things coming out. But what I expect in the immediate future is for the liberal media to lambast with no knowledge because they won't let an investigation develop and give you the facts. They'll create the facts and hope that the investigation follows suit. But, you know, I hope that the guy's all right. I'm not a fan of Nancy Pelosi. I make fun of her all the time. But no one deserves this. And again, I feel like that's the difference between a lot of Democrats and Republicans. The Republicans will actually feel bad. You might disagree with someone politically, but if they're injured or hurt or something in some violent, senseless thing like this, you're like, that's terrible. Whereas Democrats are like, yeah, oh yeah, did you hear what happened? Oh yeah. No, that's a broad, sweeping generalization, but you've been on Facebook. You've been on Facebook when some Republican, like, the pollster gets, didn't they have just recently, some guy like canvassing for Rubio, or maybe it was a DeSantis, got just get the crap kicked out of him. The liberals on there like, yeah, just some kid who likes the guy's political beliefs, and they're not bad. And he's trying to, go out and support the guy, and he gets mauled for it. You're going to cheer that? I wouldn't cheer that. Again, it's a difference. Why is that so prevalent? And you see it again. You see it all the time on Facebook, on social media. When a Republican is injured in an attack, like something like this, there's a glee amongst a lot of Democrats, and excitement. You don't really see that on the Republican side. If a Democrat's injured, you're like, no one wants to see that. That's a big difference. It's a big difference. And I feel like the difference is explained pretty easily. One group, we're aligned with a party. We agree with this party, and we want to vote for this party because we agree with them. The other group, the Democrats, and again, not everybody, not every Democrat, but a big swath of them, you're entering the territory of zealot. It's all or nothing. If you disagree with me, it's like a Muslim with Allah, and just the insanity of people who are willing to crash into buildings, blow themselves up. That kind of just one focused mind, can't see anything else, tunnel vision for whatever your cause is, which in this case is the Democrat Party. And zealotism is horrible. It's horrible where you see it anywhere. It's horrible in religion. It's horrible in politics. And if you have that kind of a visceral reaction when someone's injured, that you're gleeful and excited and happy about it, there's something wrong with you, man. You gotta, I don't say you need some meds, but you need some inner work. Let's be kind about it. We should never hope that each other are injured. We should hope that one side comes to the other. We should hope that we grow together in unity. But I'm saying this, and again, this is a lefty who was injured here. But you don't want to see that. It's awful. It's just terrible. So we'll see what happens. But again, I fully expect, because the media has nothing in their bag of tricks, except January 6th, which nobody cares about. One thing I'm excited about, I'm excited about a lot of things, but one thing I'm excited about is the fact that I'm interested just to see if after the election, after November 8th, will you finally shut up about January 6th? Nobody's been listening. Nobody's been watching the hearings. It's a dog and pony show for you to distract the nation from how terrible your record is, being the party in power of all, the House and the Senate and the presidency as well, executive. And it's not working. It hasn't worked. So can we just make a gentleman's agreement? If I can use the word gentleman, I know that's probably not woke now anymore either, that no matter the results of this election, just enough with the January 6th. Put on some Full House. I don't even like Full House. How about America's Funniest Videos? People like that, huh? Can we do that instead of your relentless, pointless January 6th coverage? Mark's got some stuff here, so I missed it. He says, we are the world for politics. You know what? That's a brilliant idea, man. We are the world for politicians. Get all these politicians. That would be amazing. Oh my God. People would tune in, even if it was just like a bit. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, Chuck Schumer standing arm in arm with Trump or something, or Hillary and Trump, just like, we are the world. Could you imagine all of us coming together? That would be amazing. Oh my God. Yeah. And then you take all the profits to that and you give it to like a nice charity, like, something, help cure autism, or, I don't want to say homelessness, because that money seems to just go to waste. But mental health. How about that? Mental health for the homeless. That's probably a good one. Yeah, I like that though. I think it's a great idea. Oh my God. That would make so much money. Pay-per-view that. In January 6th, Mark, you say no talk about January 6th. We don't talk if we don't talk about BLM. BLM is almost gone. I won't say it's gone now, but it's got a stigma to it, even on the left now, because if they talk about it, then it's being talked about, which means you can bring up the fact that their finances are so crooked. And it's not me saying this is in the LA Times. This is in very liberal publications. State of California, a few other states don't allow them to fundraise directly anymore because their books are so crooked. You've got I've done a few stories on these. The founder, Coolers, I think is her last name, buying this big real estate portfolio, buying a mansion with her wife in Toronto. Was a former Communist Party headquarters. I think that's what I read. Not that it matters, but it's a nice mansion. I'd live there too. It's a pretty nice place. But the gist of it is the books are crooked. They have really no one, or at the time I did the stories on it, they had no one even in charge of the money. Like everyone had just kind of quit because they think they probably looked at the books and were like, oh, dear God, I don't want to be involved in this. I could go to jail. But the beauty of today's America is that you can be as crooked as you want on the left, especially if it's a BLM situation. And the media, they don't want to touch you because they'll be called racist. They'll be called this, that, and plus they've been holding you up as this pillar of the Black community and bringing it when in fact BLM has been the opposite. Let's look at it this way. Any place that BLM has a large presence, just ask yourself, is it better right now or is it worse? Like all across the board, economically, safety-wise, crime-wise. And the answer is it's a lot worse. It is. Number one reason, BLM supported and was a big proponent of defunding the police. And that's another reason why you're not hearing about them a lot in the paper these days, because the Democrats, even though they were responsible for it, are trying to now distance themselves from the whole defund the police movement because it was such an epic, unmitigated disaster. They did it purely for the sake of getting votes, with no thought or consideration, obviously, to the communities it would affect, which were primarily minority communities that they pretend to care about. They knew what was going to happen. How do you not know you pull all the cops out with a vacuum cleaner, crime's not going to increase? It's insanity. It's insanity. And I always say this, if there is one place where BLM is active that's better for it, and I haven't heard it, if it exists, it's news to me, and it'd probably be news to the news people. But if there's one place where it worked, what did you do? What exactly did you do? And then repeat that. But we still haven't come to that first point where it's worked someplace, because they all seem to do the same thing, which is, essentially villainize the police, ignore black on black crime, or I don't think they ever cover that. And then you talk about just the essential corruption, not at the grassroots level, but at senior management, where even a lot of these people who were victims, quote unquote victims of police brutality, didn't see hardly any money or no money at all. Where's the money going? Well, it's going to the VIPs for trips and this and that and real estate. So it's crooked. And so the media now they are backing off. They are distancing themselves from them. Those in charge of, creating, if you will, tension in communities for votes, don't want to use their BLM foot soldiers because they are, again, afraid of the negative links with that group, especially with the defund the police movement, which will hurt them in the polls. That's my opinion on the subject, but the facts of the subject are certainly that that organization at the top level is crooked. There's a lot of shenanigans. They didn't file their taxes for look it up. Yeah, DuckDuckGo it, because Google's on full search suppression mode until after November 8th. That's something else I've noticed. My searches now are becoming more difficult on Google because of the things I search. I'm searching for truth. And when you search for truth on Google near election time, it's usually way down at the bottom of your searches, a few pages deep. So I go to DuckDuckGo, especially around these times. And talking about Twitter, Musk coming in. Think about what Twitter did. And I'm so happy. I just did a news story on that, but I'm so happy Musk came in and really gave it to Twitter and coming in with a sync, just like, hey, I'm here. Big entrance. Hope you like it. Going to clean things up in this town. And what's he going to do when he's cleaning things up? All he's going to do is allow free speech. He's just going to say, instead of just having one side, the left, just have free reign here and just be able to say whatever they want, whenever they want, have it amplified and this and that. And then anyone who disagrees, completely crushed down by woke algorithms. I'm going to make it so everybody can talk. That's, I believe, the plan. And it's a great plan, unless you're a leftist, because you can't exist with freedom of speech, because your policies and a lot of your ideas have a lot of holes in them. And there's a lot to be said on the negative about what you're saying. And so you need to just take that out. So you can just be like, look, I'm just going to say this and no one's allowed to contradict me in any way, shape, or form. And so you'll just have to believe it. But now someone else can be like, no, what about this? How about this? And they can't live with that. They can't live with open dialogue. That should tell you something right there. Again, it goes back to zealotism. My way or the highway. If you're with me or you're against me, it's kind of that Darth Vader-esque Anakin Skywalker thing, where if it's not an absolute allegiance, let's call it a Sith Lord. And it's not good enough. It's got to be absolute allegiance to the cause, whatever that cause is at the moment. I think that's dangerous. I think it's bad form. How about that? Oh my God, Mark, you've been writing up a storm, and I've been missing all of this. All this. All right. Mark claims, he says, not a socialist. He opened his thing with not a socialist, which automatically, Mark, makes me think you're a socialist. Just so you know. Just went to some friends who are. Oh, you dirty socialist! I knew it. I've hung out with some deep Republicans. Can't wait till Jeff comes to party my house. I'll be there, Mark. Yeah, I'll be there. He says we cover black on black crime in Durham with some of our leaders. Good. I think that's important. I feel like, I mean, that's huge. That's huge. What about Kanye? Kanye's probably the guy who broke into Pelosi's house with a hammer. I'm sorry, I couldn't resist. But Kanye is out of his mind. He's complete. I mean, he's BS crazy. Like I used to be like, oh, the guy's brilliant in publicity. He's always stirring things up. He just creates these moments just by pretending to be insane. Now I'm just pretty convinced he's lost his mind. I mean, he's out of it. I mean, he's just nuts. What about Kanye and Mark Zuckerberg becoming broke now? Now Zuckerberg becoming broke, I don't know. I might have missed that one, but I do know Meta is going down a lot. People are not happy with it. It's kind of like you got an older group on Facebook, right? That's kind of like I'm in that group. I'd say, generation of people like share pictures and this and that, but when I see younger people and I meet someone and I'm just like, hey, give me your stuff and we'll talk later. I'm like, I'm on Facebook, and they look at me like with this blank stare, like, yeah, they're on Instagram, which Facebook owns, but still, it's a big part of it. And thank God they do have Instagram, but apparently it doesn't seem like it's enough because you have competitive social media platforms popping up, but Instagram's still going to be huge. So I feel like they're going to be around for a while. But I think they're on the Facebook end of it, things are kind of petering out, and they haven't really replaced that money generator with anything else. They've got Instagram, but I don't feel like it's expanding at a big enough rate to cover the losses sort of on the Facebook side and on their Meta side, especially. All right. What's it? Okay. The right. Yeah. They only lost $1 billion or $2 billion. Yeah. So they're still in it. They're still around. They're not going anywhere, but, they're not where they used to be. Clubhouse. Yeah, I'm not on Clubhouse. Clubhouse, that's too much for them young kids. That was like a pandemic thing for me. I know a lot of people like that. All right, let me see what else we got here. Truth be told, this is on Fox. Trump reveals if he'll jump back on Twitter with Elon Musk in charge. That's kind of interesting because I feel like Trump has spent time creating an alternative to Twitter because Twitter was so full of censorship because they kicked them off. So I don't know that it would even be in his best interest to go back on Twitter. It seems like it would be silly. So personally, since he has his own thing now, I don't imagine he would go back on Twitter. And I don't think it's anything against Musk. I just think it's like, it's not in his best interest. I mean, if he's got his own version of it, why would he go on Twitter and kind of defeat the whole purpose of it? Granted, now if they're both open platforms, it's they're direct competitors now, but yeah, I don't see him going on Twitter. And again, nothing against Trump. I think just purely a business decision. And then Fetterman's wife claims swimming in America is very racist. Well, that's important because of this. If you vote for Fetterman, you are voting for Fetterman's wife, because as you all saw in the debate, if you saw the debate, Fetterman, and I told you, and you can see video besides the debate, Fetterman is not all there. Even Schumer, I mean, everyone knows on the Democrat side, especially after this debate, he pretty much had to do it just to prove, he wasn't severely affected by this stroke, but then wound up proving that he was severely affected by the stroke. So when you are voting for Fetterman, if you're voting for Fetterman, you're voting for his wife. And she apparently, according to this article, I haven't read into, but I might do a story on because it's just so stupid. Sometimes I'll see an article with a headline. I'm like, oh my God, that's so stupid. It's probably a really good story. John Fetterman's wife claims swimming in America is very racist. Well, I'm going to read it. I'm not going to read it right this second. I want to desperately though, because it's like one of those things that's just so stupid, but it's said with such conviction and passion by Democrats, like this is right, and it's not. Whatever, swimming is not racist. Just stop, cut it out. I know you want to be the next senator in Pennsylvania. Keep your husband in some other room while you make all the decisions. Feed him some applesauce. I don't know. I mean, again, and I hope Fetterman gets better. He had a stroke. I hope he gets better, but he's in no condition to lead. So make no mistake, if you're voting for Fetterman, you're voting for Fetterman's wife. And I don't think Fetterman's wife has been vetted. And apparently thinks swimming in America is racist. That's what you're voting for if you vote Fetterman. Swimming in America is racist. Let me spend your tax dollars trying to fix it. Help us. Tom Brady and Jill speak out over things since finalizing divorce. Well, that was pretty fast. Yeah, I feel like that was a long time coming, or they got good lawyers. They're just like, I'm tired of you. Yeah, Brady, I knew he didn't want to be married as soon as he went back to Tampa. When he went back to Tampa, I'm like, no, he's been a quarterback forever. He's like, what? I mean, you're going back to Tampa. You don't want to be home. And Jerry Lee Lewis died. Oh, that's a shame. I think they did he knew he was going to die because they did that. Jerry Lee Lewis is dead. And they're like, oh, wait a minute. Take backs. He didn't die. He's still around. But as soon as they do that, hey, so-and-so died, they were pretty close. And everyone's always trying to jump the gun. Like, oh, is he dead yet? And everyone, the newsrooms, they all know, like, he's about to die. The word gets out. Like, okay, everyone's just waiting. Everyone tries to beat each other to the punch. So they just have to hear one little thing like, okay, quick, put he's dead. We'll be first on it. But as soon as you hear, like, even the fake one where the guy died, and he's like, no, he's fine. Give it a week. They're going to die. They're very close. They're very close. And unfortunately, I don't know a lot about him. A great musician, great balls of fire singer, Jerry Lee Lewis, dead at the age of 87. That's a nice long life there. Okay, that's we're going into the deep cuts of Fox. Let me check out the Post, probably my favorite news publication. And good for the Post. They must love it now that Musk has Twitter after having their Hunter Biden laptop story have their account suspended, and solely for the purpose of affecting a presidential election. That was done explicitly to affect the results of a presidential election. And I honestly believe it did. I believe it could have made the difference between Biden winning and Biden losing. Biden won because, among other things, and there's a lot of other things, but one of them, and there was so much, it was so close. Any of these little things could have moved the needle one way or the other. But I feel like this situation was one that moved the needle in Biden's favor over Trump, because you've got this laptop, Hunter's laptop, this treasure trove of just corruption and illicitness, and just it's you don't even want to, you got to have rubber gloves just to touch the nasty thing. And they claimed that the Post, that it was not vetted and that it was not real and that it was this and that, and so they suspended the New York Post's account on Twitter, thereby essentially saying this is bollocks, this is junk, don't believe it, and now go vote for Biden before we tell you it's all true. A year later or whatever it was. They knew it was true. They knew it was true and purposely lied to affect a presidential election. So when people are complaining about, these poor Twitter employees lose their jobs, good. They're corrupt to the core. When you only allow one side's opinion, and then when another side presents an opinion, you even if it's true, you shut it down completely, even suspend their account, because, for pure politics, for a presidential, you're affecting the outcome of an election by being dishonest and by censoring. I mean, there's so many things morally. I mean, I'm not going to get into morals with liberals, not like a lot of those exist on that side, but it's reprehensible. So good for Musk coming in and just he's going to clean house over there, and I love it. I absolutely love it. And when I say clean house, all it means is he's going to allow free speech. But to the Democrats, that's nightmarish, because you get free speech. What next? Free elections? I hope so. November 8th. And I feel like the pieces are in place to hopefully have free elections. Everyone is so concerned about the shenanigans that I think clearly took place in the last elections, that there are a lot of people watching. There's a lot of eyes out there that weren't out there before, so we can prevent. There's always going to be cheating, but cheating to such a degree that it's going to impact an election one way or the other. because there's always going to be cheating. You're never going to eliminate all cheating. That's just not going to happen. But if you can contain it, if you can control it, you can still have a relatively fair election. Yeah, Mark says affirmative action is on the table from the Supreme Court. Yeah, as much as it is the economy, I feel like it's going to outweigh it. You know, I just feel like the poor economy, I should say, is going to outweigh it. And you got interest prices going up now. The housing is getting ready to kind of start tumbling a little bit because no one can afford to buy a house. So obviously the prices are going to need to come down. So a lot of people use their homes as their kind of nest egg. You know, they're going to start seeing that go. Now, that'll be after the election. That's the only benefit to Democrats on that. But you still got sky high fuel prices. You got record crime. You can't walk around with New York, it seems like these days, without seeing somebody randomly stabbed or thrown on subway tracks. You know, like, what is going on? I'll tell you what's going on. No cash bail is going on. They just did another story on Patreon on this one, and JeffAhern.com on the crime summit in New York. Oh dear God, what a joke! What a joke! So New York crime is rampant. I mean, I'm not like, I would be scared to live in New York because like you don't see it coming. You're walking along and then some rando dude just starts stabbing you. Starts a stab like for no reason. You know, you saw that with I think it was a parking employee or someone the guy went crazy on her, just stabbed her to death. You know, and people being thrown onto train, and it's happening almost daily in New York right now. So they're having this crime summit. They had it last weekend, and it's a load. It's crap, because here's the thing: they go in there and they're trying. Oh, we're going to fix crime. There's two ways. I said it in the story. There's two ways to fix crime in New York, and there could not be easier. It's a one sentence thing. The two ways you fix crime: number one, you fire progressive DAs like Alvin Bragg, who are so pro-criminal that they practically represent them in court. And I think in a lot of them, it wouldn't surprise me if they did. And a lot of them, they don't even, I did this story a while back, but Alvin Bragg, even his office does not allow his people who work for him to go to parole hearings. So they can't say anything that might detrimentally affect the release of said felon into the community. Now, I'm sure there's exceptions, but that's a policy in that office, as well as, you know, legitimate, like taking back, reducing charges for people who assault police officers. I mean, you're like, what is going on? What is going on? And so you get rid of idiots like him. They did it in San Francisco. They got rid of Chesa Budden. They got a lot more work to do in San Francisco, but they got rid of him. So you got to get rid of him. And number two, you have to get rid of the no cash bail reform. You cannot have this no cash bail system where it is an absolute revolving door justice. Mayor Adams is bragging about, subway arrests are up. I think he said 50%, something like that, or maybe it was even 60%. But it doesn't matter. Who cares? You could arrest 100% increase in arrests. But if you just let them out as soon as you get to the jail, sign here, all right, don't do it again, and then they leave, you haven't done anything. You've done nothing. So who cares how many people you arrest? And it's obviously not having any impact on the crime in New York, you know, except that making it go up. So those two things, firing up progressive DAs and eliminating this no cash bail fiasco. Those are the two things. If you fix that, your crime's going to go down. Guaranteed. So what are the two things that absolutely were not discussed at the crime summit? You guessed it. No cash bail and progressive DAs. So what did they accomplish? Nothing. It's a publicity stunt. And who suffers for it? The people of New York. And why did they have this publicity stunt? Because there's an election coming up and they want to make it look like they're doing something. They're doing nothing. Because to do something would be to admit that their policies don't work. And that that's it. I mean, yeah, their policies don't work. I mean, they're idiots, but yeah, you can say that any day of the week. You don't need a conference for that. Mark says you need equitable punishment. I get worried when I see that word equitable, Mark, because to me that means some guy is going to be running around my house with a hammer trying to hit me in the head. You need punishment. I don't believe in equitable punishment. I believe in punishment. I believe if you commit a crime, you go to jail for that crime, or you have inflicted on you whatever the punishment for that crime is, regardless of race, white guy, black guy, Hispanic guy, doesn't matter. You do X crime, this happens. Oh, you can go to court and you can do this and that. But what is happening now is nobody's going to jail. And so in the name of equity, nobody's going to jail, and people are running around killing each other and pushing each other in front of trains. And I'd be interested to see about this Hammer guy. Oh, for a traffic stop. You're talking about real crime. Yeah, I'm not so concerned about traffic stops, but I am. Here's something else that I am concerned about, because in the name of equity, equitable crime, traffic stops, things like that. But they've gotten rid of, or they had. I don't know if they might have changed their mind since crime's gone so far south. They've eliminated a lot of the like. Cops are afraid to make stops now because of the equity thing. And so what's happening is people who had guns on them, maybe they're not getting arrested. People who had drugs on them maybe aren't getting arrested. They got rid of in New York, I believe. They got rid of an entire, and I think they brought it back, but they got rid of an entire group that was there to get guns off the street. Basically, look for people who look suspicious, might have firearms, and roust them a bit, and then arrest them or get the firearm off them. Well, they got rid of that. And then of course, crimes went up. Hey, you can carry your gun now. They got rid of the whole department of getting your gun. So all these things happen with the best of intentions and wind up with the worst of consequences. The worst of consequences. And you're seeing it play out. You're seeing it play out. There has to be a deterrence for crime. And you shouldn't get a pass on it based on your race, one way or the other. You shouldn't get a pass for being frisked if you're one color, and you shouldn't get a pass for being frisked if you're another color. Heck, frisk everybody these days in certain areas. They should just have, I got an idea. They should just have like though it's so draconian though, isn't it? But maybe like but if it's a real bad, well, here's the thing, right? Talk about equity. But like maybe just a metal detector, just a lot more metal detectors, like on the sidewalks. You got to walk through, or at least how about into a subway entrance? Let's at least make the subway safer. Do they have those? They probably don't, but it might be an idea. Although really, I don't even know that would work, because a lot of the subway crime is just people shoving other people onto the train tracks. You only need 2 of these to do that. It's scary times, man. It's scary times out there, and I certainly don't have all the answers, but I know you have to have deterrence, and without deterrence, you have what's going on right now. And if you want to see things improve, 2 easy ways to do it: you get rid of progressive DAs, get rid of them, or accept your horrible crime-ridden life. And 2, get rid of the no cash bail system. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. Show me one place it's worked. It doesn't. Get rid of it. You do something bad, you go to jail. Sorry. You do something bad, you get whatever the punishment for that is. You don't have to go to jail, but if the punishment is go to jail, you go to jail. And then you get out or you don't. Hopefully you learn from it. You don't do it again. When you encourage something, you get more of it. And right now, crime, homelessness, basically anything that is a societal ill under Democrats is being encouraged. And so they're really good at it, apparently, because it seems to be growing out of control everywhere. And I'm not alone in this. I know I'm not alone in this, because I think on November 8th, in spite of issues like abortion and things like that, people are going to vote for their safety. They're going to vote for their economic health, and they're just going to say enough. So I feel like this election, you're going to have certainly the Republicans take the Congress. I feel like they should, barring any shenanigans, take the Senate. But here's the issue: like, even after they get it and things start getting better, what happens is there's this complacency, and then you're like, oh, maybe I'll vote liberal again. Resist that urge. Don't do it. Or you're right back where you started, right? All right, I think that's it. Let's see, Mark, what do you got? Some here. You haven't seen the jails; they are filled to the brim. I don't know. Well, it sounds like they got to build more jails, man. I don't know. Have you seen the jails, Mark? I don't know that you've seen the jails either, to be honest. I don't feel like they're filled to the brim. I don't know. And if they are, again, sounds like we need more jails. I don't know how they could be filled to the brim, considering they're letting everybody out. Here, the kitchen knife sharper. Yeah. You got to let me sure you lock your doors these days, Mark. People walking around with hammers. Like, that's crazy. I'll be very interested. I'm going to check out that story afterwards. But I hope her husband's all right. I don't wish ill on anybody just because I disagree with them politically. So that's that. I hope you have a great week, everybody. It's not even a holiday, but pretend it is. So enjoy your weekend. God bless. Thank you. Thank you as always, my amazing producer, Mark. And I will see you next week at the same time. Check me out on jeffahern.com or my Patreon site. You can see me on Rumble as well. Thank you. God bless. And have a good week. And bye. I never leave when I'm supposed to. Mark, are you just not taking me off?
Hello and welcome to Newsday with Jeff Ahern. I'm your host, Jeff Ahern. Today's top story. If there is such a thing as foot and mouth disease, then Joe Biden and Kamala Harris must have gotten the version where it's their entire leg. With Biden, it's more of a staccato stupidity. Harris prefers a more robust word salad. So allow me to mash up their speeches and see if you can figure out who's who. My name's Joe Biden. I'm a Democrat candidate for the United States Senate. And we have put together, I think, the most extensive and inclusive voter fraud organization in the history of American politics. I think that, to be honest with you, I do believe that we should have rightly believed, but we certainly believe that certain issues are just settled. Certain issues are just settled, like poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids, which is why if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black, you lying dog-faced pony soldier. Come on, man. You need to get to the go and need to be able to get where you need to go to do the work and get home. So you go ahead and stack the spaghetti sauce at a store and a supermarket. You control the guy or the woman who runs or brings out the carts on a forklift. What happened? Anyway, Ukraine is a country in Europe. It exists next to another country called Russia. Russia is a bigger country. Russia is a powerful country. Russia decided to invade a smaller country called Ukraine. But we stand with you. Putin may circle Kyiv, but he will never win the hearts of the Iranian people, which is why it's time for us to do what we have been doing, and that time is every day. And we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men and women were created by the thing. And America can be defined in one word. Ask the Mafapanahawa. End of quote. Repeat the line. America can be defined in one word. Ask the Hamanafatupai. Let's go, Brandon. Hello and welcome to the Newsday with Jeff Ahern. I'm your host, Jeff Ahern. Today's top story. Kim Kardashian just announced plans to launch a private equity firm as she puts the ass in assets. Finally, a private equity firm with a solid Instagram presence. Always a good sign, too, when every news announcement of your new venture has to disable the comments section. Like most websites that she's on, you have to be 18 years or older to use it. But it's not rated X. This one is rated R for retirement. Not that you'd want to put your retirement money into it. Sorry, Kim, but you can't fix bad investment advice just by using Photoshop. The only people worse off than those taking Kim's financial advice are those who listen to Matt Damon telling them to buy crypto. Kim is calling her company Sky Partners, as in expect sky-high losses. But clearly, she's serious about it. Here she is wearing a black turtleneck in a publicity photo. She's a regular Steve Jobs if he had a really big rack and a sex tape. Maybe she will do okay. I mean, she's used to handling very big portfolios. And her double D CD is already perking interest. I'm just not sure we all need a private equity firm from the least private person imaginable. Maybe you should stick to the bed sheets, Kim, and leave the balance sheets to the professionals.